Hello friends, this is your host and host Sunil Jhaveri, also known as Mr. Bond in the mutual fund industry. Today I am going to discuss about one of the raging topics which is being debated in business newspapers and social media like Twitter and Facebook. I am sure you've guessed that topic, and that topic is investment under direct versus through advisor codes. Media has been raking up this topic for no rhyme or reason but to only garner eyeballs and create sensationalism. It is amazing and baffling as to why media and some of the journalists are hell-bent on misrepresenting facts, twist them to suit their own warped ideas and misguide hapless investors. These newspapers are even giving ample space to a professor of IIT who has written an article on the subject. What a joke! Unfortunately, investors read these articles and treat them as gospel truth and start inquiring with their advisors as to why they should not go direct. Tell the same investors that if you don't read newspapers, you are uninformed, but if you do read them, you are misinformed. Same media said that US markets will collapse if Trump came to power. Same media tom-tom that Indian markets will collapse post demonetization, and all of us are witness to the meteoric rise of both these markets post these events also. Imagine if your investors would have taken a call to exit reading these articles of so-called experts. Next few minutes I will elaborate on why we as advisors should not go on the defensive due to such planted articles and how to manage investor queries on the subject. I would go one step further and request all to share this video with as many of your investors as possible. This will hopefully open their eyes to reality and not take such journalists and their maliciously written articles seriously. When we are earning our rightful dues based on what our regulator has prescribed, then where is the point of discussion? Are these journalists saying that we should not earn our rightful dues? Report of Karvy and their findings. And this will be an eye-opener. This is a survey done by Karvy post Direct came into existence. I would request these journalist friends to do some survey like what Karvy has done and what Wealthforum along with iFast has done, and I'm going to share them with you and their findings. They should write articles based on facts and figures and not based on myths and Excel sheet calculations. 80% of redemptions carried out within 1 year of investment under direct during stable markets by the investors. Another shocking survey report. 60% of redemptions carried out within 3 months of investments under direct during volatile markets. And the same report talks about the IFAs and how did they handhold these investors. IFAs could convince their investors to stay invested for benefits of long-term investments. Show these reports and the findings to your investors. Another survey conducted by Wealthforum along with iFast, which is Mutual Fund Advisor Alpha report. And what is the finding? Shocking. Mutual Fund Advisor Alpha through strategic asset allocation 3.09%. 3.09% alpha by sheer strategic asset allocation by the mutual fund advisors. Mutual Fund Advisors Alpha from behavioral guidance 4.67%, and that's the same finding which Karvy has reported, which I have just shared with you. Mutual Fund Advisor Alpha from fund selection 0.64%, and overall Mutual Fund Advisors Alpha for good advice 4.95%. That means those investors who went through the advisors have created an extra alpha of 5% versus those who would have gone direct. Let your investors decide whether they want to go direct or through you as an advisor. Media has a habit of misrepresenting facts. One of the journalists had written an article titled PPF investment can beat Sensex over 20-year period. What a load of rubbish, and let me explain to you why. He could have come up with a sequel saying that from 2008 to 2017, Sensex has delivered only 5%. I'm sure PPF would have delivered 8.5–9%. It would have made his case stronger, but how wrong is he by doing this kind of a comparison, which is a point-to-point comparison? As against that, If PPF is a yearly allocation, ELSS also should be a yearly allocation through a SIP mode, and these are the results, and that should be shared with your investors and not this rubbish which is talking about 20-year or a 10-year period of point-to-point returns of Sensex versus PPF. Now you judge for yourself and show this to your investors whether you believe what these journalists are writing, or do you want to believe what we are showing to you, which is the actual proof of how ELSS is performed versus PPF. This is the actual data till 31st of August 2017 of 1.5 lakh rupees invested in PPF versus the same amount invested in ELSS, 12,500 rupees per month. At actual PPF rates over 15 years, PPF value from 22.5 lakhs has grown to 36 lakh rupees only. The worst performing ELSS during that period has performed 70 lakh rupees, and an average performance of all these ELSS schemes put together is 104 lakh rupees. Is ELSS or equity better or PPF is better? Your investors will decide after seeing this slide. So let these journalists not give you point-to-point returns, take entire discussion out of context and show you some results which suit their illogical minds. Media thrives on negative news by creating panic, and all of us are aware as to what happened during 2008-9 fiasco. When the market started correcting from 21,000 to 9,000, the same media said the markets will go down to 6,000 also. And that's when most of the investors exited at that lowest point of 8.5 to 9,000 on 9th of March 2009. And this is the time when most of the advisors were advising their investors to stay invested or add on to their investments, because the price to earnings ratios had dropped from 28 to 10.5 during this period. And those were the best times for investments, and that's exactly what you and I did to convince the investors. But unfortunately, many investors exited at that lowest point during this market carnage, and this is what they lost out on, versus those who stayed invested thanks to the advice of the advisors, they gained. From 2005 to 2009, 9th of March 2009, if somebody would have done a 10,000 rupee SIP in Sensex, that 5,10,000 had crashed to 3,84,000, 13% negative CAGR. And this is when most of these investors read these articles stating that the markets will collapse further, and that's when they exited. And those who exited converted notional losses into actual losses, as against those who stayed invested and continued to stay invested through the SIP mode. The very next year, they garnered a CAGR of 16%. That 6,30,000 grew to 9,65,000 when the markets bounced back from that low of 8,500 back to 21,000 in March 2010. This is the value of the advice. This is what we do as hand-holding with our investors. Please convey this to your investors and show them their behavioral pattern versus what we try to guide them through. Can everything be do it yourself? If that be the case, then why go to chartered accountants, why go to doctors, or why go to lawyers also? Everything can be do it yourself. Then you and I don't need to be there at all. We go to professional advice for specific reasons and specific purposes. And that's exactly why these investors should come to us for professional advice as far as their financial planning is concerned, their retirement planning is concerned, their goal-based investment is concerned. And tell them that yes, we care and we will take care of your interests throughout this journey, which is from childhood to retirement age. And you will be in the right hands. I want you to read this tweet done by one of the journalists who has been writing regularly on mutual fund industry. Quote unquote, "No one will become rich by investing in diversified mutual funds because the alpha will be small." All of us are aware that diversified equity mutual funds have beaten the benchmark Nifty and Sensex by a huge margin. He continues to add and write, Also note, Warren Buffett did not become rich by investing in mutual funds. Is he advising his readers and the retail investors to invest in direct stocks? I would request the readers to take a call whether they wish to continue reading his articles or not. Let me share one of the dohas of Sant Kabir and its interpretation by Vinayak Sapre, which he has beautifully articulated in his book called Dohanomics. I have taken permission from Vinayak to quote him on choosing the right advisor. Sadhu aisa chahiye jaka pura mang, vipati pade chhadai nahi, chade chauguna rang. And what is the interpretation? What kind of advisor does an investor need? One who can handhold the investor during tough emotional and financial situations. Further, a financial advisor needs to be more engaged with the investor during tough times. The advisor's efforts during bad times should be 4 times more than the normal days. And that's exactly you and I have been doing for the past so many years in this mutual fund journey and this journey of financial planning of your investors and my investors. My final thoughts on this subject. Everything cheap need not be good. Quality comes at a price. My only request to media is that though media attention is good, it should talk about quality of advice instead of Excel sheets of how much more or less the investors will earn. As we know, investors' biggest enemy is they themselves and their emotions. Now investors are flocking to financial assets, especially first-time investors who have not seen major correction over the past 3 years post demonetization. We need to focus our attention in guiding them in the right direction. That can be done in conjunction with responsible media. Let these so-called journalists write what they wish. Hope this has given you enough ammunition to answer queries of your investors on this topic. Please remember that Rome was not built in one day and mutual fund current AUMs were not built overnight. All of us have put in a lot of hard work and energy to make this happen. No one can take away that from us. Remember the days when we had to explain what mutual funds were to our investors? To the current level wherein mutual fund schemes are now first recalls. You and I have made that possible. Show your value adds to your investors. Direct and disclosure will no longer look like threats. If you wish Mr. Bond to be the mentor for you, please join www.mrbond.in or www.mrbondcourses.com and be part of the A2A family, which is advisor to advisor. There are many workshops which will really help you in enhancing your mutual fund practice. Thank you so much.